All right, here we go. Episode 352, Sig P320 Trust it? That's what we're going to talk about today and much more. If you are looking for gun training in the Tampa Bay area, look no further. RaiderCopTAC.com is our website. We can provide you training in pistol, revolver, shotgun, AR, whatever you're looking for, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. We can help you think about firearms in a different way. I was a police firearms instructor, and I have a lot of general knowledge on shooting, especially in the area of use of force and what most real situations that transpire out in the street, what they might look like. So if you're looking for more information on us, you can give us a call at 813-942-7400. That's 813-942-7400. Or if you want to hear all our podcasts from number 1 to number 352, and that's a lot of listening, you can do so by going to our website, RaiderCop.com. That's RaiderCop.com. Want to send us a nasty email? By all means, it's RaiderCopPodcast, all one word, at Proton, PROTON.me, M-E. And we'll be looking forward to your comments. All right. Let's open up our Bibles. We're going to go to the book of Colossians 3:2, and it says, set your mind on the things above, not on earthly things. Above, not on earthly things. A lot of times we're trying to do like the world does, and we're not really focused on what we need to focus on, and that's a relationship with God. So that's important. Where to go with all this nonsense that we're listening about gun or Second Amendment and what rights we're getting under the Trump administration versus what was taken away, and why some Second Amendment advocates believe that we're not there yet. We're short. We can get more. So the gun world and the Second Amendment world is more and more confusing, but not as confusing as it is for Sig Sauer and their model 9mm, the P320. We're going to look at that and what's going on with that? How long has that been going on? And how in the world can shooters continue to move forward even though the future looks dim for the P320? So we'll explain that as we dive in to our main event, episode 352, Sig P320 Trust with a question mark. We'll see you downrange in a minute. Let's go. Episode 352, Sig P320 Trust it? And that's a big, big question mark. As an example, I'm going to point this out. Now it's empty for you. And you check it, people that are out there. So this is my Bull Armory. Catch it on camera here. Pretty aggressive design. Trigger. It's very nice. And it is from the Glock Model 17, 3rd gen. Bull Armory took this gun and pretty much just created their own modifications to it, making the ducktail area and giving it a lower of a 1911 frame. I've had episodes on this weapon, so I'm not going to repeat it. I've taken this weapon and I've shot it. To me, it is reliable. It's a good, very nice weapon, especially for what I paid for it. $399. Yes, it is a Glock Model 17 3rd gen that has been tricked out, as you might say, by the people over at Bull Armory. Look at that well. So imagine doing all that on your own. It'd be very difficult. But the gun is reliable. Look at the trigger, the well, the undercut on the bottom. A lot of work done to it. I've shot it, and it's been reliable. It's been so reliable that I'd like to carry it. I use it as home defense, and in different seasons I wear it or use it. It is reliable to me. It means something. It means that I can trust that weapon. The question that we have before us, can those people that own the P320 6-hour, can they continue to trust their weapon? Well, it's never gotten off, shot around uncommanded, as the word is now, uncommanded, in a holster all by itself. But there's a lot of noise about it not working properly. Can you trust it? Will you be the next news feed individual that had a situation? Are you going to be the person looking like a fool on the evening news saying, it just went off? And everybody looking at you and saying, sure, yeah. Can you trust the P320? For those 6-hour lovers, they're going to say yes. But subconsciously, can you trust it? Let's look at some of the events that are going around just recently with the Sig P320. The Houston Police Department has banned the use of the P320 Sig for officers. It's given the officers in the Houston Police Department 2 months to switch the P320 to another brand. Also, for military veterans that use on duty in the Houston Police Department, the M17 or the M18, they also must discontinue using it, and they have 2 months to come up with a new weapon. That's from the Houston Police Department. ICE, you know who they are. The ones all liberals, lefty Democrats hate. They have banned the P320, telling officers to go to Glock specifically. I guess they have the ability to switch them out as the federal government. And they're going to Glock. But my P320 never gave me a problem. Why should I switch? The question is, can you trust it? The SIG continues to say that the P320 cannot, under any circumstances, discharge without the trigger first being moved to the rear. Let me show you what that looks like from my Bull Armory. They're saying from this action here happening, can't be done. And they're stuck on stupid as they're losing business by the tons. The jury finds, in another case, the jury found the SIG P320 defectively designed and came on a lawsuit that was brought by the Cambridge Police Department in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That was as of July 31st. The jury found SIG had a defectively designed weapon. Now, let's not all say everything is negative. The United States Army makes a bold statement by saying they will not change anything on the M17 and the M18, which are the variants military specs for the P320 SIG Sauer. So that's a positive for SIG. SIG also went on the counter offensive, being aggressive, bold in their statements that this is not happening. The gun will not go off by itself. To the point that they're suing the Washington State Police Academy because it's banned the P320. And they say they have no merit in doing so. In Florida, State Representative Danny Alvarez from Hillsborough is calling on all agencies around the state of Florida, police agencies that use the P320 SIG, to cease immediately or suspend the use of it until further analysis. One department that has done that in Florida is the Tampa Police Department. It's ordered the suspension of the P320. There is a specific lawsuit that was brought by an individual that was a member of, I believe, ICE. And they were on a training session, and they had used over like 1,300 rounds or so. And in this training session, when it was complete, one of those ICE officers had taken off his gear, and his weapon was still in the holster, and it went off. The case is Towski versus Sig Sauer, which is in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, number 24-1639, for those that want to see it. So, something's happening. There's a lot of pros and cons. Sig is aggressive in suing people, but people are also aggressive in suing Sig. The Michigan State Police switched from Glock to the P320 in 2024. And one session of training also with 1,200 rounds. During the completion of that drill, one of the weapons went off uncommanded. And troopers from the Michigan State Police witnessed this. The United States Air Force recently stopped the usage of the military variant of the P320, and being the M17 and M18, they've stopped using it because they had an airman by the name of Brandon Loven, which took off his duty belt with his holster and the gun holstered, and supposedly laid it on a table, something similar to that, and the gun went off, shooting him in the chest. That was the last straw for the United States Air Force. They've suspended the military variant, the M17 or M18, to be used in the Air Force. But not everything's negative, like we said. Here we have the United States Navy and Marine Corps that have no plans, none whatsoever, to pause or suspend the M17 or 18, which is the variant of the Sig P320. The Chicago police also have banned the P320 from its officers using it. In New Hampshire, which is the state where Sig is housed, they work out of the state of New Hampshire. They were so aggressive in helping out Sig, it created a new law making it harder to take Sig to court. So the question here is, I could be reading over and over and over again incidents that have occurred with the P320. I know one in the area I live in Tampa Bay that happened in either 18 or 19, where a deputy who was a school resource officer in the school my granddaughter was in, and he was in the cafeteria, school cafeteria, and somehow he had raised his leg, put the bottom of his foot on the wall, and he was in full uniform with gun belt and a Sig Sauer P320, and somehow the weapon went off in his holster, scaring all the kids in the cafeteria, of course, and all the lunatic left. Well, they took the weapon that he had and they sent it to Tallahassee, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Laboratory looked at the weapon and they concluded it did not possible for it to go off by itself. So the sheriff fired that deputy. Don't know if he's ever gotten his job back. I just know it up to the point that they fired him. So, and maybe in the community that you live in, this has been an issue too. Police have relied heavily on the Glock as the go-to pistol. Prior to that, in the revolver days, it was the Smith & Wesson. They were big in the revolver era in policing. Many police departments had the Smith & Wesson. Today, it is the Glock still. Sig has been really taking a big portion of that business. Sig won the trials for the military pistol. Prior to that, it was the Beretta 92F, the civilian model. Then, of course, there would be a military variant to that. And that Beretta was the pistol of choice for the military for almost 30 years or so. And then the military opened it up trials. Beretta competed, Glock competed, Sig competed, Smith & Wesson competed. They all did. But Sig won. And coincidentally, the model that they use, the P320, even though there are specifications to that model that the military has to have on their guns, they call them the M17 and M18. But with this last case that happened in the Air Force, something's wrong with their models as well. So the question that we have before us, before we end this, can you trust a P320 on your hip, either as concealment or duty use in a holster on a belt? For me, the answer is clear. It's not very difficult. It's no. I showed you this weapon from Bull Armory, and I told you it is very reliable. I like it, and it's trustworthy for me. But if it were to fall on the ground and go off, I've got to reevaluate it. If it starts jamming, I've got to reevaluate it. If it starts doing things I don't like, I've really got to start evaluating. So what I need people to realize that it is important to take these things and scrutinize them for your own benefit. Not just say, well, I believe in the product. Because if you do that, then you're cheating yourself. And that might not be a good thing. Like I said, for me, it's easy. I wouldn't wear it. I would hope that in the future, Sig actually comes out, confesses their sins, and say, this is what's wrong with it. This is how it can get fixed. And bites the bullet and mans up, ponies up on this one. Because a lot of people want to use that weapon. P365. People love it. They like the Sig brand. But Sig doesn't like itself. And it doesn't like its customers because it's refusing to do the right thing. For this video, I saw a lot of videos on YouTube, showing how the weapon can go off. I read a whole lot of articles, very detailed on armory, breaking down what was happening. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying I saw it. These people basically staking their reputation by saying this is what's happening. But Sig isn't. Their CEO and their board should self-examine themselves, because being trustworthy and honest goes a long way. If you're looking for a good gunsmith, make sure your gun doesn't just shoot in your holster or on your hip. Call Pistol Pete, the gunsmith, down in Miami. His information is down on the bottom of the show notes. Pete is a guaranteed gunsmith of reliability. When I was in law enforcement, he was my gunsmith, my armorer. And he was the armorer to over 5,000 officers in Miami at one point or another. So you can definitely rely on Pistol Pete the Gunsmith, and his information is down on the bottom of the show notes. If you live in New Jersey and you're looking for good, reliable gun training for that concealed course they have to take up there, that's right. State of New Jersey finally got their thumb. All right, you know what I mean. And they're giving their citizens the permission to carry concealed once they apply and they have their training. Well, I know the guy that's doing the training. He's a 25, 30-year veteran of firearms as a range master, as a NRA firearms instructor and coach. In other words, he trains instructors to be instructors. And Karras, been on this show many times as a co-host. He's up in New Jersey waiting for your call for that course. It's his website is Sepulveda Inc. SEPULVEDA Inc. INC.com. You're going to thank me and thank me and thank me again because I sent you. And if you're in the South Florida area looking for good gun training, well, it's AAA Gun Safety. AAA, that's 3 A's in triple. AAA Gun Safety with my good friend Amado down in South Florida. Pretty soon we'll be announcing some more places to get gun training around this most important planet that we live in. Up next for us, Which Carry Gun? Episode 353. Which carry gun? You know how you go to YouTube and you have these guys and they show you, I'm going to show you the 5 best pistols you should be carrying. The only one that's going to make the decision of who carries what is you. And we're going to show you in episode 353 how to do that, how to scrutinize that's your weapon. You know, when I was in law enforcement, I only knew Glock. I've shot some other weapons, but for the most part, it was Glock. Once I retired, which is going to be 10 years now, I started playing around with other, like this Bull Armory, CZ, excellent company, CZ, Smith & Wesson, love it, Beretta, APX, one. I'm a proud owner of one. And they're very reliable and very good. So today's market is a little bit more difficult, but I also believe it's easier to scrutinize. Which one you should have is your everyday carry. So episode 353, that'll be August 20th. As always, continue to pray for yourself because without you, we have nothing. Continue to pray for your family, your community, the law enforcement agencies that serve you, and most important, continue to pray for the United States of America. This is Alpha Mike. I'll see you downrange. Here I am. Bing.
Just 1322.